Okay, we're going to be looking at two books today. Both of them are literary criticism, and again separated by hundreds of years. The first one is comes first with a little background. In the 1570s, a fellow called Stephen Gossam wrote a attack on the theater in Elizabethan England, and his tract called The School of Abuse told why the theater and much of literature at the time promoted bad manners, bad values, and could not be trusted. So that allegedly provoked the great response from Sir Philip Sidney in the 1580s, who wrote a classical oration called The Defense of Poetry, or An Apology for Poetry, which is still remarkable today. And in that, he defended, when he says poetry, he means literature and poetry. So it's not just poetry itself. He means literature. And he ably goes on to describe what value poetry has been to society and how it has benefited society. And he uses the classical oration is a strict form of rhetoric, rhetorical, a rhetorical piece that he observes, and to great effect. He's you don't have to know this is a classical oration when you read it. You just enjoy it. It's very logical. He's a very good writer, and one of the things that I recall from the defense of poetry, when he was defending the theater as being misleading people and the fount of lies and stuff like that. Sidney says, what child is there when coming to the theater and seeing the word Thebes written on an old door doth believe that it is Thebes? We don't suspend our disbelief so much so that we are fully unobservant of the fact that we are sitting in a theater, that this is entertainment. Now, there is a case to be made for how effective modern propaganda is. I'm not saying it's not, but back in 1580, Sidney had his work cut out for him to just refute what Gossam was saying. Anyway, it's a very good defense of literature and poetry. And again, with these older type texts, you have to get used to a little bit of the style first. But once you're used to it, it's an easy read, and this one is a very enjoyable read. All right, the second book we're looking at is called Where Shall Wisdom Be Found? It was published in 2004 by recently deceased but a modern and acclaimed literary critic, Harold Bloom. And when I read this, Where Shall Wisdom Be Found, I was immediately put in mind of Sir Philip Sidney. And not that it's written in a classical oration, but just the idea that one would have to come back and make a second defense, that literature would have to be defended again, which is what Harold Bloom does. They're not defending and they're not detracting from science, but they're not defending science. Science is not under attack. Science can look out for itself. Literature itself has to be defended and has to be promoted, and this is what Bloom does. He has his exemplars all the way through, ancient modern exemplars that run a gambit, and some I am uneasy about, but others, yes, of course. Why are they exemplars? Because they contain, preserve, promote wisdom, and which is essentially what Sidney was saying way back in 1580. So the two books are linked in this way with passionate critics who will defend quite ably and literature and why it should be preserved and promoted.